everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. In today's video, I'm sharing explanations for the 56th hexagram in I-Ching called the Wanderer. The reason it's called the Wanderer is based on the image of the hexagram. On the top we have fire, and on the bottom we have mountain. So you have this summer mountain fire and wildfire image. They don't stay at one spot for long. It keeps on wander and move on until it burns through all the trees on the mountain. So this hexagram gives you this setting of when you're leaving home, you travel, so you're alone, and either people travel for school, overseas studies, or business opportunities, or maybe like a company-based overseas assignment. Whatever the reason is, you are in a foreign environment. You're losing that comfort and familiarity with your own home base. In this case, what should you do? You're a newcomer, right? So you should learn from this. We should all learn from this image of internally, the internal triagram is like a mountain. Keep still, be very cautious. Don't rush into things. Be very prepared. When it's time to move. When it's time to stop and take a rest, do so. So it's emphasizing the importance of timing of action. The external fire triagram is that brightness, that virtue. We need to follow the right approach, meaning that when you're at a foreign space, you need to be generous, pleasant, easy to get along with other people because you're the newcomer. Don't be so harsh like a young lion, being so aggressive or everybody has to listen to me. That's how you incur a lot of risk and danger for yourself. Instead, be like the yin line, blend in, be approachable, be adaptable, and be very sincere and taking like a humiliating approach. Like humility is the key here. If you follow that approach, that's how you can gain like small scale benefit during kind of a foreign traveling role or like at a foreign turf versus at your home turf. So that's the teaching of this hexagram. Why wouldn't you have grand success in this wanderer role? Because you keeps on changing location. So it's losing that steadiness to have this tree root deeply. Before it becomes rooting, you're moving again. You're restarting the whole situation. So that's why it's more implying a small and steady progress versus grand achievement. But looking at individual lines, the first line, this is a yin line in the initial stage, meaning that you're fairly inexperienced. This is the first time you're taking that adventure. You're being too petty. You're nitpicking on everything, and rather than being more generous and go with the flow. And because of that stinginess and kind of penny counting, penny pinching action, you're more likely to get yourself in a very bad situation and lose the potential, like a hotel space or comfort, like a temporary residence to shelter yourself. Because you're picky, you're kind of offending everybody around in that new environment, and it's an unfortunate self-incurred risk. So if you land on this one, do the opposite. Try to be more generous. If you lose a little bit, it's okay. You're the newcomer. Blend in with that new culture and new environment and be more adaptable, be more welcoming, be more generous, rather than be very stuck with your old way. The second line is a positive one. It's balance, it's in that middle zone, and it's yin line sitting in the yin position. What does that really mean? It means that you go travel with adequate preparation. You have a lot of money to buy yourself a comfortable stay. In addition, you have support. The line description says in the old time it's common for travelers to have like a servant to serve you, but it can be interpreted as in this situation you have both financial support and the human support. So that puts you in a very advantageous position to be successful. You find yourself a safe shelter to get rest, to gain comfort and feel secure. The third line, not so much. This one is a fairly disastrous one. The reason we can see it's a yang line is you're too aggressive. You kind of been traveling for a while and you revert back to your arrogance. And you're too harsh. You're trying to take a conflicting and confrontational approach with people. Then you will incur a lot of disaster, meaning that maybe the hotel will burn down, you lose that servant who used to help you at the second line, and you might get harmed yourself. So it's a lose-lose situation because of the arrogant and harsh approach. The fourth one is kind of a neutral blended one, because after you travel for a while, you gain more experience, you might be able to find a good living that provides you with the necessary material and financial necessity and support. That's fine, but if you move up the hierarchy, your emotional needs are not met. You don't feel a sense of belonging, or your spiritual goals are not achieved. That's why even though you have material protection, deep down you're not happy. Your heart is not at ease because you didn't really achieve what you want. You still feel like you're an outsider. Moving to the fifth line, this is the king, the one in charge, right? And it happens to be a yin line, meaning that I'm more in tune with this hexagram's teaching. I do worship and cherish humility. I think it's so important as a leader to be nice to people beneath you who are supporting you. Because of that, I shoot an arrow trying to catch a prey. Maybe I lose the arrow in the process, but in the end, I did catch something fatty or beautiful. So it's saying that in the process, you might have a small loss here and there, but eventually you get what you want. You will attract recognition, fame, and success. So it's a good ROI. The output is way larger than the input. So eventually you'll be successful with kind of some small sacrifice during the process. Last but not least, the top line. This one is disastrous again. The reason is very similar to its corresponding position, the third line. This is saying at the ending stage of a adventure, of a journey, you become too egocentric. You're like, look at what I've achieved, what I've gathered. Even though I'm not from here, look at my achievement. You're trying to show off your accomplishment, and that might invoke a lot of discontent, jealousy, or just frustrating emotions with people who are from the local ground. And what would they do? They might sabotage you. They might take away the tools you use to make money. They might actually even harm you as a person. So it's a lot of self-incurred disaster because of this person's extreme arrogance. It's going against the teaching of take it slow, lower yourself, take small and steady progress instead of flashing out to the world and trying to aim for something so grand, and that can actually attract quite a bit risk versus reward. So that's the teaching of the 56 hexagram. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.